President Trump, of course, is just welcomed into the prime minister from Italy. And it looks like they are going to be meeting with his cabinet members. You're looking live at this conversation. You got to expect all kinds of things are actually on the table. Tariffs, undoubtedly, but also calls for European nations to beef up their defense, their military operations. And the U.S. is such a big supporter of a lot of what goes on in that region. So President Trump taking some questions and conversation here. Let's listen in.
Of course, there'll be a trade deal. Very much. They want to make one very much. And we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it. But it'll be a fair deal.
Are they on your priority list?
Everybody's on my priority list.
Mr. President, do you plan to meet with the President? You?
Say it.
Do you plan to meet with
Wait. One at a time, please.
wait.
No. No. You and then we'll go.
Do you plan to meet with the President of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen? Do you plan to have other meetings with EU leaders as well?
Many. We had a meeting yesterday with Japan. As you know, we've had numerous talks, very at the highest level, frankly, with other countries. Yeah, we're doing very well, and we're moving along on trade very well. The United States was ripped off and taken advantage of by every country in the world, practically. I mean, I have to say practically, but just about everyone. That's not going to happen anymore, but we're going to make fair deals.
President Trump, given talks with Japan and Italy this week, do you expect to announce an initial trade deal with any of these countries by next
At a
week?
certain point, yeah, we're in no rush. We're in no rush. You have to understand we're getting right now 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum. We're getting a 10% baseline. We took that down just because it was, the appropriate thing to do until we decide what the number will be. And we're, taking in a lot of money, which we've never done before, frankly. With Biden, we were losing a fortune on trade. But we're moving along very nicely, and we're going to end up with a baseline of a substantial number, which we never got anything. The United States never got anything until I came along, and then I put very substantial tariffs on China, if you remember. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But then we had a rigged election, and it was just one of those little things. And it got away from us because Biden allowed every country in the world to rip off the United States. And I'm here to save our country.
Mr. President, on China, Mr. President, you said you have
China.
You have said in the past that you aren't worried about allies growing closer to China as a result of your tariffs. And this week we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried that they're growing closer?
No.
Mr. President, will you pick up the phone?
Nobody can compete with us. Nobody.
You said that you have a good relationship with President Xi. Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Oh, we're going to make a deal. We'll have a deal. I think we have
Mr. President?
I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Do you plan to reach out to him and call him?
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Mr. President Trump, you told me regarding Marine One a couple of months ago, I like her very much, regarding Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Will she be the one to mediate your relationship with Europe, do you think?
Well, I do like her very much. I think she's a great prime minister. I think she's doing a fantastic job in Italy. We were very proud of her. I knew her right from the beginning. I knew her as a very early prime minister, and I knew she had great talent. She's one of the real leaders of the world, and I'm very proud to be with her. I can't do better than that, right?
Yes, that's fantastic. Okay, we can close the press conference.
We should end the press conference. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Prime Minister, how quickly can you raise your defense spending?
Oh, well, Italy is the summit of the NATO announced that it raised 2%, as was requested.
It'll go up. Yeah.
Yes,
It'll go up.
And then Europe, as you know,
It's never enough.
Europe, as Europe, as you know, is committed to do more, is working on tools to allow help the member states in increasing the defense spending, and we are convinced that everyone has to do more.
Prime Minister, are you ready? Are the retaliatory tariffs that were passed before and then suspended still on the table?
No, sorry, please repeat it.
The retaliatory tariffs that the European Commission passed and then suspended, are they still on the table if you cannot make a deal with President Trump?
I'm sure we can make a deal, and I'm here to help on that. I cannot deal in the name of the European Union. My goal would be invite President Trump to pay an official visit to Italy and understand if there's a possibility when it comes to organize also such a meeting with Europe. I think the best way is that we simply speak frankly about the needs that every one of us has and find ourselves in the middle. That's useful for all. I really, somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that to be stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
We're going to have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants. We're going to have very little problem. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. We'll be right there in the Oval Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's move. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, you've been watching inside a cabinet meeting there with President Trump at the helm, of course, and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni with him as well as they talk about tariffs. It was a big one there. President Trump, when asked about his priorities, he said, everybody's on my priority list. He talked to the Japanese yesterday. He said also, Emily, I think we're going to have a good deal with China. He seems optimistic. That's where we've really ratcheted up these, 100%, 200%, back and forth. But he says, good deal coming.
Yeah, and some, I think, in prediction of this meeting with the Italian Prime Minister said, all right, we're hoping that she's going to be the key to sort of downsizing the EU tariffs, that she is the Trump whisperer, will in fact sort of represent all of us. She's the one that can go in and get it done. But the flip side of that were some that expressed a little bit of anxiety, given President Trump's history with foreign leaders. They said, well, maybe it's going to go disastrously and we're sort of heading her out into the wolves. But as we saw right there, he's such a fan. He said she has done a fantastic job. She's a great prime minister. He said she's great talent. She's one of the real leaders of the world. And I note that he sort of said that under Biden, we were losing a fortune on trade. He concluded by saying we're going to have no problem making a deal today after the prime minister expressed her faith and hope that they would come to a mutually agreeable conclusion. And final quick point, just a reminder that she's hosting the vice president in Rome tomorrow.
Yeah, in just a few days, he's going to be hitting there and India as well. So, Jerry, with a shortened trading week, how much of a boost would it be for everybody, psychologically and otherwise, if the White House is now able to announce a trade deal or two?
I think that's the key. I think that's the key for your 401k, for your savings, for your retirement. All traders, professional investors are hanging on the words of these negotiations. This is critical to the future of stocks. And I think what you heard in this presser, gosh, I wish the markets were open today, all of this optimism coming from Trump about what's going on. He said he expects a deal with Europe. We're going to get that done. That's going to be easy. You know, what he has that no one else on the planet has is the American consumer. We spend so much money. So many people want to be in our marketplace, selling to our consumers. It's a real advantage that I think a lot of people don't understand, or maybe they just discount. So this was very good news. He also said, and this is important, that the country is taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. I was listening to that because there are real concerns about this monster debt that we've put together. So that's good news, what I heard in this press conference.
Well, and Doctor, this all impacts not only our physical, but our mental health as people are having a hard time. I say don't check the 401k. Don't do it right now. If you're skittish, you got to leave it alone for a while, if you can.
You know, and I agree with Jerry's point about the optimism here. Trump made some really key points here that he feels this country is taken advantage of by other countries. Now, look at Europe, where we average a 1% tariff across the board with no free trade agreement. Now it's 15%. But you know what Europe does to us? Europe, by the way, whiskey alone had a 25% tariff.
Don't mess with the whiskey.
Whiskey alone, don't mess with my whiskey, right? And here's the last point, the art of the deal, right? He's with Meloni, he's with Prime Minister Meloni. The art of the deal, that's how he does it, person to person. I think he's going to negotiate something.
Or at least he loves to negotiate.
He loves to negotiate. Also, I think he also just likes the Italian Prime Minister, Meloni. They share a similar worldview, anti-globalist, anti-illegal immigration as well. And to your point, this is the classic art of the deal, classic Donald Trump. He sort of picks this more extreme position to push the opposition into a position that he agrees with or that he finds more satisfying. Also, he thrives in the unpredictability and the chaos. He likes his opponent to not know exactly what he's doing. That's also why he's so good at foreign policy as well. And then I think when he recognized that there was a little bit too much volatility, he sort of took a beat, took a pause. And imagine what it would do if they can lay down, here are some of the deals that we've done that would give businesses a lot of confidence, investors a lot of confidence. So I think once we're on the other side of this, we'll be in a better position as a country.
Yeah, he may like the unpredictability, and it works for him as a negotiator, but we know the markets do not love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
নারাকি মাটিতে নারাকি পাটিতে নারাকি পালকের ঘরে নারাকি মাটিতে নারাকি পাটিতে নারাকি পালকের ঘরে স্মৃতির সুন্দরে রাখিব বন্ধুরে স্মৃতির সিন্ধুরে রাখিব বন্ধুরে বিলিয়ে রে সম্ভরে বিলিয়ে রে সম্ভরে দিয়া গেলাম রে জ্বালা দিয়া গেলাম রে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে কি জ্বালাতে গাছ বন্ধু পরবাসী পরে ঘরে আসি এত ঘুমে কেন ধরে বন্ধু পরবাসী পরে ঘরে আসি এত ঘুমে কেন ধরে কয়লা ঘরে ধনী পোহাইল রজনী কয়লা করে ধনী পোহাইল রজনী নারাখিলে দিনের ডরে নারাখিল দিনের ডরে কি জ্বালা দিয়া গেলাম রে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে কি জানি লেখটা নারী প্রেম গেছে কিন্তু না কইরাছে বস্ত্র কষি কষি পরে নারী প্রেম গেছে কিন্তু না কইরাছে বস্ত্র কষি কষি পরে কবে আসকো হরালি সাধু শত জানি কবে আসো হরালি কবে আসকো হরালি সাধু শত জানি উদাসী বানাইল মোরে উদাসী বানাইল মোরে কি জ্বালা দিয়া গেলাম মোরে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে দিয়া গেলাম